very privileged to have Miss Ha, who is a chairperson and CEO of the online management training company, or we call them OMT here. But she's also the partnership director of development director of a Vietnam NGO called CFC. Miss Ha and her team has been working with EON since last year, and they are really pushing the boundaries in bringing online learning and e-learning to K-12 teachers and students in Vietnam. Miss Ha, thank you for being with us today.
Hello, John. Nice to be interviewed and speak to you on the webinar.
Yeah, and Miss Ha, we've been working together for quite a while, and it's always been a joy to work with you and your team. So, Miss Ha, today, we're going to be asking you about your experiences and sharing a little bit about what your team has been up to. Maybe before we get into the actual part of it, let me ask you the big question. Why EON-XR?
Okay, I think that is a fair question to be asked. First of all, as the people who have been doing EdTech, especially e-learning for schools since long, we have been dreaming about bringing AR and VR experiences to the Vietnamese school. But in the past, it was like too expensive. Internet bandwidth, internet connectivity, not good enough. Smartphone availability, not pervasive enough. Now is the time. I mean, like from 2018, 2019, when we have very good 4G coverage for all over Vietnam, we think this is very doable from the infrastructure point of view. Then secondly, we know we have been knowing EON-Reality for long, and we notice how fast you are making the EON-XR platform workable for the average teacher, for the ordinary teachers with no code skills. So I tested out myself and I said, okay, if I can use EON-XR to do a lesson on my own beagle, my dog, then all teachers would be able to do lessons on that. And that's where we come in and we said, okay, we should work with EON-XR.
Yeah, those are fantastic reasons, and I think that's quite true because one of the things when we were working together is that we noticed how fast your team actually came on board and started using the platform. Even yourself, when we did the training, you yourself even submitted your assignments as part of your certification to come on board the EON-XR platform. So I think those are extremely valid points. And not to mention, you mentioned a very key point here, which is as technology advances, it becomes more commonplace that technologies like EON-XR can really transform the way we teach and learn very easily. Okay, so your team has been working on a project since last year. I think would you like to give a few words about what this project is about?
Yeah, so I think we were promoting a new technology for Vietnam education sector long before COVID. And one of it is that we think that for Vietnam, especially for Vietnamese school teachers and students to get ahead on STEM subjects, the use of new technology like AR, VR, which at that time were still new words to the educators in Vietnam, is most critical. And we were lucky that UNICEF Vietnam was attentive to some of our discussion. And I think we were also very lucky that UNICEF Vietnam is among the UNICEF offices, among the world that has funding available to promote, to test out and promote new technologies for education. So we were just on time, and when we submitted our proposal, it was approved, and we proposed to actually use the EON-XR, the no-code, lesson creation platform for Vietnamese teachers from kindergarten level up to make use of the technology and the smartphones that are all around in order to make their class not just fun, but more interesting, more engaging.
Okay.
And I think the teachers and the students so far have agreed with us. It was fun, and it was interesting.
Okay, and I think you mentioned you guys are using EON-XR from preschool all the way up to K-12. I mean, primary, secondary. the K-12 level. So what we have here today is we gotten a few of your the lessons that you guys have created. So maybe if we can talk a little bit more about, and maybe you can share a little bit more about the experiences your teachers and students been having with these experiences. So you mentioned about STEM. So here we have these few lessons is talking about physics.
Yes.
I noticed that you use our augmented reality mode quite a bit
Yes.
in your lessons. Is there a reason, a choice for using augmented reality?
Oh, yes. So this lesson is actually created by a teacher in Hanoi, and you are seeing the view from her rooftop. And when she created this lesson, she actually decided
Yeah.
to videotape it from her
Yeah.
rooftop. Yeah.
Yes.
And why AR? Because actually the VR glasses are still not very popular in Vietnam, and it does. VR glasses do add a cost to the classroom. So we actually, and the teachers especially appreciate that EON-XR has the AR mode, which is which makes it possible for teachers on the way in the mountains or in the Mekong Delta or on the borders with China
Yeah.
or with Cambodia. They still can actually do classes for their students either
Yeah.
on their iPhone or on the
Yeah.
tablets that are much more easily available than the VR glasses.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
VR is exciting, but at the moment not very accessible yet.
Yeah, and I also see that like for example in this lesson here and the next one, they are doing a kind of a virtual lab.
Yeah.
Even though the setting is still actual lab, but they're using the augmented reality mode to simulate like as though they're doing an actual experiment. I think you can probably do this anywhere, right? At home, in the
Yes.
classroom. Yeah.
Indeed. So
Yeah.
teachers, especially STEM teachers, also appreciate that the EON-XR allows for this animation feature. The animation in it actually allows for this, especially the STEM experiments to be so authentic and makes students, enjoy learning much faster. And yeah, so I'm not going to go through all the functions that you have created for teachers,
Yeah.
but animation, possibility to create more quizzes and the 3D recording are very much appreciated by the teachers who have
And
made use.
and how do you think? I mean, do you have any feedback from students who are trying this out, using this in the classroom or at home? Is there
Yes,
yeah.
we
Yeah.
even have feedbacks from ethnic minority school students all the way
Oh.
in Lao Cai province, which is close to the Vietnam-China border to the north.
Okay. Okay.
So students, especially now we are developing classes for lower secondary school students who are between the age of like 11 to 14. And they are allowed to use their parents' smartphones at home.
Okay.
So that's why they can actually access the EON-XR by logging in themselves, right? They can explore more than just the classes that are developed
Yes.
by their teachers.
Yeah.
And like they play around, they kind of make fun, taking pictures of
Yeah.
themselves with the AR objects. So I
Yeah.
think they are, yeah.
I think I
I don't have any schools doing real exams on EON-XR yet, but in terms of
it might be coming.
making, yeah,
That I
making
think
things
that's I think
happen.
I think it's amazing because you mentioned like the minority groups are able
Yes,
to access it. I also noticed that in your lessons, your teachers are actually your team is actually localizing it to Vietnamese, which is I
yes.
think important in a market like Vietnam because not everybody maybe for English is not the common language all the time, or maybe only in the cities, but out in the other provinces you can actually make use of this as well.
Yes, and I also have to speak about the 360 feature that is available on the EON-XR. So far, we have been working mostly, as you can see, we have been working mostly with STEM teachers. But
That's right.
yeah, next we are actually training and we are helping non-STEM teachers to take 350, 60 pictures, and then they can they can already do something about that,
Yeah.
taking pictures of the National Assembly
Yep. Yep.
and do something
Yeah.
for their students.
Yeah, and I think so far for what we've seen with what your team is doing, like for example, what we're seeing on the screen right now, they're doing a physics lesson,
Yes.
but they can be in any venue. But more importantly, because they can scale the models up, it's not like it's not like an image or video, right? It becomes really life
No.
size to them. I think this is amazing because to do the setup, every school needs to have like a certain set of equipment, but with this, you can augment the need for that. And I noticed that your team is also in this case it's a mixed lab, isn't it?
It
So
is.
you can develop your own, like you mentioned, the 360 photos. You can develop your own models if you want to, and bring it to the platform and create your own learning experiences.
Right. Okay. Our teachers could want to develop their own 3D models one day. They are not yet at that level, but for them to be able to take advantage of the models available on your platform, it's already quite.
Yeah.
They are already quite excited.
Yeah. And I mean one of the key things I notice your teachers really like to do is they try to contextualize the lessons. So like
Yes.
for example, this one here, they place this push and pull lesson. So it's a basic physics lesson,
It
but they
is.
put it in a regular office or school setting. It's a drawer. It looks as though it's really there. It kind of gets students to think like if they were to go home and they find a drawer at home, they can straight away link it to what's at home with them, right? It's all about contextualization.
Yes,
Yeah.
and teachers also want to actually to, as you can see, especially for preschool, kindergartens, they actually want to really to put the object into
Mm-hmm.
outside settings and to make it
Yes.
very relatable to younger students,
Yes.
to
Yes.
preschool students.
That's right. And I think we're gonna see some examples of that. But that's a good point because size, location, context it is important to help in the learning, isn't it? Because that's the
It is.
that's the fundamental, because they can link it to the real world. And I think maybe let's go through so this is another one that is teaching about forces, but using
Yes.
again in a lab setting, but it could be applied anywhere and used anywhere as well.
I like this lesson a lot. This is also created by a female teacher, and
Okay.
yeah, she made it very. She made the trip to the school lab and waited when
Mm-hmm.
there is classes for her to do this rendering, and the students were
Oh
very
wow.
excited to
Yeah,
see
that's
this.
no, that's amazing because I mean, one thing she's doing here, which is very clear, she's not even looking at it from one angle. She can
No,
rotate, she
sure.
can look at it from all around, and again, you can apply it anywhere. Um, Let me just. So this is another one for guesses, I think.
Yes,
Teaching
it is.
about character guesses. Yeah. So.
These are the lessons that are linked to the new school curricula of Vietnam lower secondary school, which we are now
Mm,
teaching. And you
mm-hmm,
can go with any textbook. So this
mm-hmm,
kind of lesson, especially the one that with animation, are really
mm-hmm.
helpful.
Yeah, I think that is important, right? Because AR VR also works well not only as a static object but also with the animations to illustrate. Now, earlier
Yeah.
you talk about, we talk about learning in context, and I think now we're going to dig in a little bit to outdoor learning and a little bit of a non usual use case. Like for example, here you're learning about the planet and solar system in the middle of a forest, or in the middle of a forest. Here, it's an outdoor
Okay.
setting.
This is in the middle of a park in Hanoi because of,
Ah,
because of COVID. Then some of the teachers were restricted, and they would wish to go to the beach to do this kind of video tip as well. But right
mm,
now they are staying in Hanoi and do.
yeah.
They actually tried quite number of settings before they came up with this one.
Ah,
And
okay.
we love it that teachers are at the level of interest that they
Yeah.
take initiative and spend time
Mm,
to record their lessons in different
yep.
settings. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that is
And
more important than just creating a well taught lesson, because
that's right.
that helps us
And
spark the creativity of the teachers.
yeah. And I think just now you were talking about, using 360. So we found this example of a 360
Yes,
lesson that your team is doing. It's for
yes,
basic life skills for kids.
yes, it is.
Um
Yeah,
this is again amazing, right? Because now, especially like COVID, right? And
yeah,
it's not easy to bring, a class of children out sometimes. But now you can bring the outdoors to them, at least to introduce the idea of outdoor skills, and then later when things are better, they can go out and they can actually try it out themselves. Yeah. So we found this reason. I thought this was amazing. I mean, to bring in the outdoors to the kids. And this one was we talked about this, bringing the the learning into a real world context. So this was one that I thought it was quite interesting. Bringing, I think this is Dragonfly, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
And learning in a garden of all places. Yeah.
Yes, this lesson was created by a kindergarten teacher, and she used it for her kindergarten class, and they really loved it. I think it is so beautiful. I think they were students taking pictures, with the giant dragonfly in this
Okay.
beautiful setting.
All right, and I think this is probably the last one. So this one I thought was a very interesting one. It's a non-traditional. I wouldn't have thought about this, but you were trying to teach kids how to prevent injury.
Yes.
When carrying a sharp object. So maybe could you talk a little bit more about this, because I thought this was quite a unique use of the platform. So I know there's an audio lesson for this. Unfortunately, I don't understand Vietnamese. But maybe you could just share a little bit more about this.
Okay.
How do you use this? Yeah.
This lesson is actually created by a primary school teacher. He is but he actually created it for kindergarten teachers to use in the preschool setting. And his reasoning is that, quite difficult from his own observation at home, it is quite difficult to teach a young child how to handle, sharp objects like knife.
Okay.
Yeah, and having the AR/VR mode to teach them, to show them how to do that is just perfect. So it's like teaching older students about firefighting without having a real fight.
That's a very interesting idea, because I didn't think of this, and I think you're right. You probably could replace the knife with a fire extinguisher and go through the actions of how to sweep the extinguisher to put out a fire. Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah,
Amazing.
Teaching life skills, essential life skills to young children, through simulations, through AR/VR like this is, really effective. And kids could come home and tell parents, "Oh, today we learned how to use a knife," and parents would say, "Wow, that's dangerous." And they said, "No, not dangerous at all, right?" And
yes, that's right.
We have this app, and we did it on the phone and on the tablet.
Yeah. And not to mention, you're doing all this on a regular device, like a tablet or a phone.
Yes.
It's safe. It's safe for the kids and all that. Yeah, exactly.
That's true.
Well, I mean, this has been fascinating. I think the your team has been really doing amazing stuff. I know there's a lot more in the pipeline. I know your team is very excited for upcoming version 9 release. And I know there are some features in there that your team is looking, especially for added support for more devices that's suitable for the Vietnamese market, if I'm not mistaken. So I think, go ahead, Misa.
Yeah, as I have mentioned, we are using AR mode much more than VR mode, and that is why having AR mode booking on more devices is critical to us. We are happy to hear that you are launching you are enabling the AR mode in more tablets, especially the Samsung tablets, which are very, very popular in Vietnam, and that would help schools to be able to have more classes enabled in AR mode.
Yeah, fantastic. So look out for the version 9. It's coming out very, very shortly. And I think thank you for your time, though. I mean, this sharing and seeing what your team is doing on the ground. These are actual lessons being used, in Vietnam right now. And I think it's amazing. I think it really inspires us to really think beyond the box. And more importantly, I think it shows us what's the potential in any kind of setting, right? You don't need expensive equipment. You don't need you don't need the best of everything. EON-XR will just run it, and every student will have the opportunity to learn.
Yeah, that's true. And more importantly, all the teachers, they just need 1 hour training, then they can make use of the platform.
Yes. That's right.
They don't have to go through any programming or coding class.
Yeah, so the ease of use is always the key part of EON-XR. That's right. Well, okay, thank you, Ms. Ha, for your time. I think everybody is cheering on for you for continuing on the project with UNICEF, and your team especially. Really, applause to your team for amazing stuff that they're doing on the ground. So thank you again for your time. Best wishes to the people in Vietnam and your team, and keep developing those experiences and changing the world.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, take care. Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye bye.